The lecture hall fell silent as Instructor Vexil entered, followed by 3 floating containment pods. Inside each transparent sphere writhed a creature that made even the battle-hardened cadets of the Galactic Defense Academy shift nervously in their seats. Caro pressed against the energy barrier of his pod, silver eyes fixed on something in the crowd. The young Varkesh predator, barely a cub but already showing the sleek musculature that would one day make his species. The apex hunters of the Andromeda sector seemed agitated in a way the handlers had never seen before. Today's xenobiology practical involves direct observation, Vexil announced, his 4 eyes scanning the assembled cadets. The Quellan instructor had overseen this exercise for 12 cycles, and his confidence showed. The Varkesh cubs are sedated and monitored. There is no danger. Cadet Mira Solon sat in the back row as humans often did. 3 months into her training at the academy, she'd learned that her species' reputation preceded them. Humans were the newcomers, the strange deathworlders who'd somehow survived a planet that actively tried to kill its inhabitants. The other cadets gave her space, not out of respect but uncertainty. The containment pods descended to the lecture floor. Vexil gestured, and the energy barriers dissolved. What happened next would be discussed in academy halls for generations. Caro didn't prowl. He didn't investigate the room or display the curious behavior typical of young predators in new environments. Instead, he moved with purpose, his gaze locked on the back row. The other 2 cubs followed as if pulled by an invisible thread. Cadets scrambled from their seats. The Quellan instructor reached for the emergency stasis controls. But the 3 Varkesh cubs weren't attacking. They were gathering around Mira Solon. Caro reached her first, pressing his scaled head against her leg with a sound that was almost a purr. His siblings flanked her, their bodies relaxed in a way that contradicted everything the Academy taught about Varkesh behavior. One of them climbed into the empty seat beside her, curling up as if this human was the safest thing in the galaxy. Cadet Solon, remain absolutely still, Vexil commanded, though his voice carried a tremor of confusion. Mira looked down at Caro, whose silver eyes met hers with unmistakable recognition. Slowly, carefully she extended her hand. The cub leaned into her touch and something in her chest tightened, a familiar ache she'd tried to leave behind on Earth. "They're not sedated, are they?" she said quietly. Vexil's mandibles clicked in the Quellan equivalent of stammering. The dosage was calculated precisely. "They're scared," Mira continued, her hand moving in gentle strokes along Caro's spine. Young predators taken from their mother, surrounded by strange beings in a cold room. "You didn't sedate them. You just stressed them out." "Impossible," another instructor, a Thoraxian named Krell, interjected. "Varkesh don't experience fear in controlled environments." Their biology is that of a pack predator," Mira interrupted, and several cadets gasped at her directness. "They're looking for safety in numbers, for something familiar." She paused, remembering lazy afternoons with her own dog back home, the weight of trust in how he'd sleep pressed against her side. "For something that reminds them of being protected," Caro chirped, a sound so incongruous with his species' reputation that half the class thought they'd misheard. "But why you?" Vexil moved closer, his scientific curiosity overriding protocol. "What could a human possibly—" "Because humans are predators too," Mira said simply. "We just forget that sometimes, surrounded by all of you." The lecture hall erupted in protest. The Quellans were herbivores, yes, but the Thoraxians were omnivores, and several other species present had hunting in their evolutionary past. "Look at your eyes," Mira gestured around the room. Quellans, 4 eyes positioned for maximum peripheral vision. Prey animals, Thoraxians, compound eyes on the sides of your head. You're scavengers. Even the Zelthari have eyes that can rotate independently. She pointed to her own face. Forward-facing eyes, binocular vision, designed for tracking movement and judging distance to prey. We evolved as pursuit predators on a planet where everything was trying to kill us. So we learned to kill first. She looked down at Caro, still pressed against her leg. These cubs recognize one of their own, not in species but in instinct. The second cub had now climbed fully onto her lap, weighing at least 30 pounds but settling in like a house cat. The third maintained watch position beside her chair, its body angled to keep the room in view. A guardian stance. Instructor Vexil approached slowly, his tablet scanning the cub's vital signs. Cortisol levels dropping, neural patterns showing, comfort responses, This is unprecedented, is it? Mira asked. On Earth, we domesticated wolves, pack predators who recognized us as worthy pack leaders. We didn't gentle them into submission. We offered partnership, protection, purpose. These cubs aren't domesticated, but they understand the principle. She scratched behind Caro's ear ridge and his purr deepened. They know a protector when they feel one. Krell, the Thoraxian instructor, stepped forward. If this is true, it raises troubling questions about human integration into the galactic defense forces. Predator species are considered high risk, which is exactly why humans are perfect for this academy, Mira countered. You've spent 10,000 years building a civilization that forgot what it means to hunt, to fight, to survive against odds that want you dead. Then the Zythic swarm showed up at your borders and suddenly you remembered you needed warriors. She stood carefully, Caro and his siblings moving with her in fluid synchronization. Humans have never forgotten. We've been fighting our own planet for our entire existence. We understand predators because we are predators. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what the galaxy needs right now. The room remained silent. Then from the front row, a Quellan cadet named Thresh spoke up. I've read the human combat reports. Battle of Proxima Station. 3 human frigates against a Zythic assault carrier. He paused. The humans won. We did, Mira confirmed. Because we fight like Earth taught us to fight. Creatively, desperately, and with absolute refusal to accept extinction. Caro chose that moment to climb up her uniform, perching on her shoulder like some exotic, deadly parrot. His siblings maintained formation around her legs. Instructor Vexil's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. Well, Cadet Solon, it appears you've just volunteered for xenobiology fieldwork. These cubs seem to have adopted you. Mira met his gaze levelly. Or I've adopted them. As the class ended and cadets filed out, giving Mira and her new companions a noticeably wider berth, she felt Caro's steady weight on her shoulder. The cub's purr was a constant rumble, and for the first time since leaving Earth, the ache of homesickness eased slightly. Perhaps humans weren't meant to be alone in the galaxy. Perhaps they were meant to be exactly what they'd always been, the predators who protected the pack, the hunters who understood the language of tooth and claw and survival. The Galactic Defense Academy had wanted warriors. They'd gotten something far more dangerous. Humans who remembered what it meant to be wild.